Kartana got buffed in this Pokemon is absolutely amazing in the two-shield scenario. With Fury Cutter as well as Sacred Sword, this Pokemon has so much more play now, and we have an interesting team that kinda has to be this way in order to function, and we're gonna talk a little bit about why. As said before already, you really like the two-shield scenario with Kartana. Not so much against something like the Primeape here, but against a lot of other Pokemon you're going to be a bit better off against it. But here, we're going to have a team, basically, that is going to have, two very bulky Pokemon in the back. They need to be bulky, because you need the shields for your Kartana, and so you can't have a Pokemon in the back that can, go down basically to one Pokemon that has a little bit of energy. And this is the exact reason why we're going to run this team like we do run it here right now, because we need to kind of set up Kartana properly, and this is the only real way of doing this. And Kartana, if you have it set up correctly, is an absolute meta breaker. This thing can destroy nearly everything in the current meta, and it one-shots everything that kind of, doesn't have like the craziest bulk, like this Pokemon here. If we can get to the move, which we can, goodbye there, goodbye Primeape. We're going to be able to outspeed everything, and we're going to have, we're going to win Team Pitta against everything. So first battle already was a win here. Next battle is actually a little bit more tough. The issue here for me, I actually have one of the best answers in the back for this Pokemon. I have Corsola, which resists the poison type damage, which we also do here in the lead, by the way. But of course, our Corsola is going to be in a position where we don't really need to use shields or anything like this. Here, of course, we kind of need to go for shields because in the two-shield scenario again, we're actually going to be able to guarantee win this matchup against the opponent. And I try my best to actually go for the full farm now, but they still get to another move. And so I'm going to try to keep alignment. I'm going to try to keep my energy instead here. And we should be able to maybe even go for 2 charge moves, as we will see here in comes the Dunsparce, which is actually alright, because we're gonna be able to now have alignment, which is kind of perfect, and we can get 2 Sacred Swords off, which do super effective damage. And so, while the lead wasn't really as ideal, we're actually not in a bad position now, as they swap out into the Jellicent. This is a bit more of a bad position, because I don't have my hardest answer anymore in the Kartana, which has Leaf Blade, of course, Stab Leaf Blade at this point as well. But we're going to have our Corsola, and we have to hope that this Pokemon is going to be able to get, hopefully still to another charge move here before the farmer's down, and we can, and with this, we are going to be able to win this battle. But this was super, super close, but thanks to this Pokemon here, we are going to be able to win this, and we can move on to the next opponent. We're going to have the Empoleon. Empoleon is going to be amazing for us, but they swap out into the Altaria, which is even better because we have a Azumarill, and Azumarill is going to be able to completely hard-roll this Pokemon. So far, we have a great lead for our Kartana, and we're going to have here now the Altaria against us, which is also absolutely fantastic. The issue is here, though, that Empoleon is the hardest answer kind of for the Azumarill's damage, and so I just decided to go for the full farm down here. I don't really want to go for any charge move. They're very likely still get another charge move here. But with that, they're only going to get me low, which means I should be able here to get at least maybe 2 players off. But at the end of the day, at least they should be able to farm me down without getting that much energy. They're still going to get a little bit of energy, but it's hopefully not as much that I need to be worried about things. But let's see. They're going to be able to definitely get to another charge move. Yeah, I decided to swap out actually, because at this point as well, Astonish is going to be enough to knock them out anyway. So it's not that I really need to have Kartana here, but I can kind of scout on what the opponent has in the back. And as we see here, the shield's coming up from the opponent. We're going to be able to use the shield as well. And this is going to be the Drill Pick coming through, which is fine. And they have Gourgeist in the back. This is really, really tough for us. Gourgeist has access to Shadow Ball as well as, of course, now Incinerate, which does a double super effective damage against us. And Shadow Ball will do super effective damage here against our Corsola. They're very likely just going to go straight forward. I have to go for 3 fast moves, and then, okay, I can actually knock them out. That's kind of alright. Can I farm them down here as well? I can, and with it, I'm going to be able to win yet another game. Horrible lead again for the Kartana, but I decided to go into Corsola Say-Sop. Why do I do this? I usually don't go into Corsola as my Say-Sop. My Say-Sop for this team is Azumarill. But for the specific matchup of, basically just Primeape, it is better to go into Corsola because it is the worst matchup, but you have more fast move pressure, which can allow you then later on to win the matchup with Azumarill if they're going to be able to go into the two-shot scenario, which I think the Primeape does win against Corsola, just because they do super effective damage the entire time. So, this is kind of the reason why Corsola is my main Say-Sop, if it is a Primeape in the lead. Otherwise, it is always going to be Azumarill, because Azumarill just makes more sense. It just has less counters, it is just a bit more neutral. Here in comes Azumarill now against the Primeape, though we have the matchup that we kind of wanted to have. But ideally, I actually don't use any shield in this matchup at all and keep all the shields for my Kartana. But I have to see if this is going to actually work out. Here, we're going to have the Ice Beam coming through. This is going to be easily enough to get the shield from the opponent. We're going to see here that I'm going to be able to let the next move go as well. The Primeape goes for another charge move. And I am going to see the swap out here from the Stunfisk, which is actually really nice for me because now the Primeape's boosts are all gone. I have here access to Leaf Blade, which would knock them out. But what you see me here doing is I go up to 100 energy. Why? Because Kartana has 35 energy for each move. And the thing is here that I am able to generate energy super fast. The opponent only has one shield left, and the Primeape doesn't really have a lot of energy. And this means I should be able to reach, hopefully, yet another Leaf Blade in time before they knock me out, and I can. And with this, we are going to be able to win, yet again, with Kartana. You just need to know on how to play it. And this is the main idea here for this video. I just kind of want to show you on how to play this Pokemon because it is actually a fantastic Pokemon to run. Here we're going to have, of course, a Zermal. This is kind of more straightforward. We are going to lose the zero shield scenario here, but we're going to win any other shield scenario. And you see me stop here because the energy that they have doesn't really matter against any of my backline, so I don't really need to use a shield yet. But of course, I kept 100 energy on the Zero, which can be a bit more tricky for the Kartana later on. Here in comes the Golisopod, which is honestly not the best matchup for them. I survived 2 Seed Bombs, and the Incinerate barely does any damage against me, so I'm actually in a really alright spot. And they're gonna go for another move here. I can take this hit. And they need to go basically for the next Seed Bomb after Swan or just straight, which is also totally fine. I can let this move go. And now I can just utilize my Corsola as I sub onto the Azumarill, which is perfect because now I can just take those hits. It doesn't really matter. Ice Beam comes through. I don't really care too much about it. The issue is, there's still going to be the Golisopod in the back. And the issue here is that Golisopod, of course, has access to the super effective Incinerate. And I tried to get some energy up here, but actually I got the Azumarill lower than I actually expected, and that is a bit of a trickier matchup. Now I'm going to be forced to go for my Leaf Blade here, and I'm not really in a good position. I should have not swapped out here straight away. But the opponent, I guess, just decided to let the Golisopod go. And I think they just forfeit the game just generally at this point, which is kind of funny as, yeah, they had the Pangoro in the back. It would have been tough. I think I would have lost. I do think I would have lost if they didn't decide to do whatever they're currently doing. But as you see here, we are going to be able to win thanks to our Kartana. You know what's actually kind of funny? In the main series games, Kartana has an ability that allows it to boost its own attack, most of the times its attack, by 1 stage for each KO that it gets. I imagine this would be happening in Pokemon GO as well. I think this Pokemon would just go through every single league right now because it's so easy to get a KO with this thing. It has great coverage now. It covers kind of even the weaknesses of grass type damage because you're not going to be able to hit steel type Pokemon previously. Now you can, which is kind of cool. But yeah, here I had to stay in because I have to align my Azumarill against this Sableye, otherwise I'm going to be screwed. You have to have the Azumarill here because, yeah, again, we have a Ghost type otherwise, and the Ghost type doesn't really like this. But as you will realize here right now, yeah, they're going to have UltraHDifi in the back. There is no Pokemon really where I can bring in my Corsola. Here, this is actually the best matchup for me. Well, it's actually kind of funny, by the way, which I only really realized recently, is that in the GO Battle League, it seems like there's this eternal battle between the UltraHDifi and the Sableye, which are both on the opponent's team. But they've always been kind of good and bad at the same time, which is just kind of funny because Sableye is always yeah, I got a buff, I'm no better, and then UltraHDifi been yeah, you're not. And it's just kind of funny. I don't know. It's just because UltraHDifi can, of course, resist the double step of Sableye. It's just kind of funny on how this interaction goes. Yeah, this interaction doesn't go really well for me. I was already expecting this because we just didn't really have any play with Corsola in this battle. And that's fine. We can move on to the next opponent. Remopeko is going to be here. This is an interesting matchup. Why is it so interesting? Because we actually outspeed them here. They do not outspeed me. I outspeed them. And if you're wondering why I did go for the Leaf Blade, both moves are going to be easily enough to knock them out there, even though, of course, Sacred Sword would be super effective in this matchup. In case I would have wanted to swap, I'd rather go for the Leaf Blade. And as you see as well, we are just able to farm them down. In comes a 2-cannon, and that is fine. Kartana is going to be able to reach another Sacred Sword and another Sacred Sword, allowing it to just kind of force the opponent to, yeah, I don't know, nearly go down here. With that, the Azumarill comes in, I can use a shield. And I think the opponent had enough here already, as the Beak Blast is going to go down. The opponent has a Feraligatr, they just decide to forfeit. That was hilarious. I really enjoyed this one. Okay, Florges entering here. We're going to have the Leaf Blade going straight, because this is going to be, again, something that we can do. We get to our moves after 9 turns, which is absolutely fantastic. Like, this is amazing pacing. And you see me here just trying to get some extra energy, catching the move onto my Azumarill. But also with it, I got a lot of more damage onto the opponent's Altaria, which might put them into Ice Beam range already, which is really, really nice for me. So, like, I kind of did 2 things at the same time, putting this Pokemon closer to Ice Beam and putting the energy onto my Kartana. But the opponent actually decides to keep their Altaria around, which honestly I'm not too sad about. Like, I really don't care too much about it. Yeah, I feel like this maybe was a bit of a mistake because I don't have a way of hitting the Altaria. The thing is here, why I not really think that Altaria is that big of an issue for me is because I still have the Corsola and it has like coverage with Power Gem. And as you can see here, Corsola is going to definitely come in here as well. There's going to be the Skeledirge, and I can just shield up everything here. It's very safe. Skeledirge is one of those Pokemon that got a big buff actually this season with Shadow Ball being now 50 energy. Why is it a big buff? Because you can just go for, yeah, basically what's called 5 Incinerates, and then you're going to have 2 Shadow Balls, which are doing a lot of damage. And so, honestly, Skeledirge is still on the list of Pokemon that I really want to showcase on this channel. But, yeah, we're going to see as well, the opponent is going to go down, and we can move on to the next opponent. So, we have Dusknoir. Dusknoir is going to be interesting. Leaf Blade is coming through here. This is going to be fine. Yeah, we are going to be able to get some nice damage onto them, and the Azumarill comes in. This is perfectly okay for us, as now we can take the hits. This barely does any damage against us. It is actually a tough Pokemon to deal with, Dusknoir, with our 2 other Pokemon, depending on which situation you're in. Of course, Corsola can do super effective damage against them as well, which is great. But, yeah, it is kind of a bit awkward if they have energy. Like, if they have energy, they're going to one-shot basically both my lead, and then, okay, it doesn't one-shot Corsola, but there's a lot of damage against Corsola. Alright, Corsola comes in. A Pokemon with resisted fast move damage. That means I am going to be able to go for the Leaf Blade spam here, without really anything that can stop me. I can even go for a shield here, and I do think it's absolutely worth it, because at least based on what I can see here right now, I should be able to get to 2 Leaf Blades. And 2 Leaf Blades are going to be, yeah, kind of nice here, because as you can see, the opponent is going to be using their shields already because they're scared of the damage of Kartana. And I would be scared as well, looking at this was a neutral hit against the Clodsire, one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game right now. And it did so much damage. This is wild. In comes the Nightshade from our Corsola. This is perfect, and this is going to allow us to get some nice damage in. And we are going to be able to get now the KO with yet another fast move. Earthquake is coming through, the Azumarill is coming in, I have the Nightshade coming through. This is going to be fine. This is going to be allowing us to definitely get the KO here soon as well. But let's see on how the thing's going to go. We have the Play Rough coming in, and we can swap out into the Kartana in order to try to go for the KO, but it doesn't work out actually. Azumarill is now up against the opponent's Azumarill. We can go for the KO, and we can move on to the next opponent, where we have the worst possible lead, and you see actually me staying in for a tiny bit. Okay, that's actually a lead where you also kind of want to go into your Corsola. Again, main reason is you have a Azumarill in the back that has just a better matchup against the Talonflame, and that's mainly why I decided to keep my Pokemon around here. And honestly, it's actually a really good decision, because now we got all this thing, the Jumpluff, a Pokemon that is kind of dipped away a little bit. It's a Pokemon that I actually kind of want to take a look at as well still, with the double nuke moveset. I think it's amazing. Like, you're going to have access to acrobatics as well as you're going to have access to the energy ball, and as you can see as well. But yeah, I'm going to have to now utilize my Kartana in order to knock it out. That worked out quite well though. I'm going to be able to win this matchup. But now we have a shield advantage, but we have to hope that the Azumarill can do something here. But they're going to reveal that they have a double grass backline and the Credilli here against us, and that is not ideal. I can go for the Ice Beam. I get the shield early, and this gives me actually some hope, because now I can just utilize my shields. It's going to be a Rock Tomb, that's okay. I have to maybe call that they go for another Rock Tomb. I'm just going to call this one now, I think. I'm going to call that this is now a Rock Tomb, and it is a Rock Tomb, which is perfect, because now I can try to catch the move. They sub out, actually. They make a big mistake with that. Why did they make this mistake? I have no idea, but they thought that I would try to catch the move, and I wanted to most likely, but I didn't, and this is going to be amazing, because I even let the Fly go through. This is quite risky if it's a Brave Bird, like, we'd go down immediately. But this is just going to allow us to get another Ice Beam off, knock out the Talonflame, swap out into the Kartana, and with this, we can actually come back from an impossible game here because of the opponent making this one mistake. And this is why you shouldn't quit early. If the opponent just played this out normally, they most likely would have won this battle here. But like this, I am going to be able to come up victoriously, and we're going to move on to the next opponent. Yet again, a very good lead for us. We have the Walrein, which cannot take a hit from us, and they are going to be forced to use a shield here every single time. We do outspeed them. They're going to be able to win the two-shit scenario though, but we can get a shield advantage. And this is kind of all that you kind of want to get here, but the opponent catches the move onto the Corviknight, and that is devastating. But I will use this opportunity to get up to another Leaf Blade before swapping out, because now I can still threaten the Walrein. Nicely done by the opponent though. I could have maybe even go for the weaker move and Sacred Sword, but yeah, I didn't really want to. But very unfortunately, here the opponent gets a boost straight away with the Air Cutter, just to get another boost straight away with the Air Cutter. And this is changing quite a bit. It's a 9% chance to get a back-to-back boost with the Air Cutter, so I don't know if this is going to be another boost here as well from the opponent. But this is going to get my Azumarill lower than it should have ever been, like really lower than it should have ever been. And so now I'm going to be forced to use a shield here. Usually I would have not been able to, like I would have not needed to use a shield there. As the opponent stops out now into the Walrein, I decided to go into the core style because I know that they had energy and I didn't want to use my energy yet on my other Pokemon. And so it's a bit of a guessing game. I kind of would need to get out of here with a bit of energy stored, and I go for the Nightshade straight away because I don't think I really have the luxury of going for a lot more moves. As I see here, one more fast move I get in, that's kind of cool. And they go into the Marowak. I can knock them out straight away, basically, with a Leaf Blade now. But they stop out into the Corviknight. That's kind of cool. I still have some play then now. I should be stopping onto the Azumarill, but I decide to stay in here for a little bit. I go for another fast move, but actually, the fast move didn't even go through. If I stopped out straight away into the Azumarill, went for the Ice Beam, I would have won the battle straight away. Now I have to hope that the Leaf Blade is going to be enough. It's super effective. It is stab from a Kartana. Is enough to knock them out. It is not. Which is so funny, because the fast move would have been enough, or the charge move from the Azumarill. That was more difficult to actually lose the battle than not. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye bye.